This better be fast. I have tickets to a play tonight.
All right, let's take our seats. Now you can handle this any way you want. Want to discuss it first, then vote? That's one way. Or we can vote right now and see where we stand.
Let's vote now. Maybe we can all go home. Yeah.
Anybody doesn't want to vote? Okay. All those voting guilty, raise your hands. 1. Okay. Not guilty? 1.
Somebody's in left field. You think he's not guilty?
I don't know.
I've never seen a guiltier man in my life. You sat right there in court and heard the same thing I did. The man's a dangerous killer.
He's 17.
That's old enough. He knifed his own father. They proved it a dozen different ways.
Well, do you believe his story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So what did you vote not guilty for?
It's not easy for me to send a boy off to prison without talking about it first.
Who says it's easy for me?
No one.
What, just because I vote fast? I think the kid is guilty. You couldn't change my mind no matter what.
I don't want to change your mind. I just want to talk for a while. Look, this boy's been kicked around all his life. You know, living in the slum, his mother dead since age 9. Maybe I think we owe him a few words.
We don't owe him a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? You know what that trial cost?
I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say.
What a terrible thing for someone to say. Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic?
All right, we don't need to
What you
spread.
just said is very dangerous.
I don't see any need for arguing.
That's a good point. We have a job to do.
Seems to me that it's up to us to convince this man that we're right.
Suppose we go around the table. Who wants to start?
Oh, well, I think he's guilty. Nobody proved otherwise.
No one has to prove otherwise. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth.
What I mean, I think he's guilty.
Okay, let's get to the facts. Let's take the old man who lived on the second floor under the room where the murder took place. At 12:10, he heard loud noises coming from the upstairs apartment. He said it sounded like a fight. Then he heard the kid say to his father, "I'm going to kill you." A second later, he heard a body falling. He ran to the door of his apartment and looked out. He saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. Then he called the police. They found the father with a knife in his chest. They fixed the time of death around midnight.
The boy's whole story's weak. He said he was at the movies, but he couldn't remember what movie he saw.
That's right.
And what about the woman across the street? If she doesn't prove he's guilty, then nothing does.
That's right. She saw the killing.
Just a minute. Here's a woman who's lying in bed and can't sleep. It's hot. She looks out the window. Right across the street, she sees the kid stick the knife in his father. Her window is right across from hers from the attics.
Through the windows of a passing train?
And they proved in court that you could see through the windows of a passing L train and see what's happening on the other side.
Let's calm down. It's your turn.
I'll pass it.
I don't know. I started to be convinced what the people across the hall said. Didn't they say something about an argument between the boy and the father around 7 that night?
I think it was 8, not 7.
That's right. It was 8 o'clock. They said they heard the father hit the boy twice. Then they saw the boy leave the house. But what does that prove?
I didn't say it proved anything.
All right. How about you?
I think we're wasting our time. Look at the kid's record. At 13, he was in reform school. He stole a car. He's been picked up for knife fighting. This is some kid.
Look, his father has been beating him all his life.
So would I, a kid like that?
You're right. It's the kids. They don't listen.
We're missing the point. This boy, let's say he's product of broken home and slums. We can't help that. We're not here to explain why slums make criminals.
You said it.
I lived in the slums my whole life. I used to play in the backyard filled with garbage. Maybe you can still smell it on me.
There's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
Come on now, we didn't mean you.
We're wasting time. It's your turn.
I had a funny feeling about this trial. Somehow, the defense attorney, he just didn't seem interested. I mean, he was appointed by the court to defend this boy, but he hardly seemed interested. Too many questions were left unasked.
What about the ones that were asked? For instance, let's talk about that cute little switch knife. You know, the one that fine upright kid bought.
All right, let's get it in here and look at it.
Why do we have to look at anything?
Oh, see.
This knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree?
I do.
The boy admits going out of his house after being hit by his father. He went to the neighborhood store and bought a switchblade. The storekeeper was arrested the next day. It's a very unusual knife. The storekeeper said it was one of the kind. Now, why did the boy get it? As a present for a friend of his, like he says, am I right?
Right.
The boy says on the way home the knife must have fallen through a hole in his pocket. He never saw it again. You know what really happened? A few hours later, he stabbed his father with it. He even remembered to wipe off his fingerprints. Everyone connected to this case identified this knife. Are you trying to say someone else found the knife and stabbed his father with it?
I'm saying that it's possible if the boy lost the knife and someone else stabbed his father with a knife just like it. last night in the little shop around the corner from the boy's house.
You've proved nothing. Maybe there are 10 knives like that. So what? The boy lied.
He may have lied. Do you think he lied?
Sure he lied.
Do you think he lied?
He lied.
Do you think he
I don't
lied?
know.
Okay, wait a second. What are you, the guy's lawyer? There are 7 of us who think he's guilty. You're alone. If you hang this jury, he'll be tried again and found guilty.
You're probably right.
So what are you gonna do about it? We could be here all night.
It's only one night. A man might die. I have an idea. Let's all vote by secret ballot. If you are still the only holdout, will you change your vote to guilty?
Yes.
Is everyone agreed? Guilty, 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 not guilty.
What?
It was a secret ballot.
What do you mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. You come in here and vote guilty, and then the slick preacher starts to tear your heart out with stories about a poor kid. So you changed your vote.
Now, wait a minute.
Please! I would like to say something here. I always thought a person could have unpopular opinions in this country. This is the reason I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree. In my own
What do
country,
we
I was
have to
raised
listen
say-
to now? The whole history of your country?
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. Why did you change your vote?
He didn't change his vote, I did. This juror chose to stand alone against us. It takes a lot of courage to stand alone even when you believe in something strongly. He left the verdict up to us. He gave it for support and I gave it to him. I want to hear more.
If that boy didn't kill him, who did?
Listen, we're here to decide whether the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else.
Guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is an important thing to remember.
Suppose you explain what your reasonable doubts are.
This isn't easy. So far, it's only a feeling I have.
Feeling? What about facts?
Right. The old man heard the kid yell, "I'm going to kill you." A second later, he heard the father's body falling. And then he saw the boy running from the house 15 seconds after that.
And let's not forget about the woman across the street. She saw the boy stab his father enough. That's not enough.
It's not enough for me.
The woman saw the killing through a window from moving the elevator train. The train had 5 cars and she saw through the window of the last 2.
Okay, take a look. How long does it take an elevated train going at top speed to pass any given point?
About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe.
Okay, that's a fair guess. Anyone else?
About 10 seconds.
About 10 seconds.
Okay, so an elevated train going at top speed past a given point in 10 seconds. With the windows open, the noise is awful. You can hardly hear yourself think.
So what?
Right. The old man heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you." 1 second later, he heard the body fall. 1 second. The woman across the street looked through the windows of the last 2 cars of the L train and saw the body fall, the last 2 cars.
What are you getting at?
It takes an L train 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. That L had to have been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds before the body fell. According to the woman, the old man would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L was roaring past his nose, but he could not have heard it.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Maybe he didn't hear it. I mean, with the L noise.
Why would the old man lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention, maybe. I looked at him for a long time. He was a very old man with a torn jacket. He carried 2 canes. This is a quiet, unimportant man. He's been nothing all his life. Nobody knows him after 75 years. That's a very sad thing. A man like that needs attention. He wants to be quoted just once.
And you're trying to say he lied just so he could be important?
He didn't really lie. But maybe he's made himself believe he heard those words and saw the boy running away.
How can you make up a thing like that?
I speak from experience.
Is there anything else?
Yes. I think we all proved that the old man couldn't hear the boy shouting. But how many times have each of you said, "I'll kill you"? We say it every day. The boy is too bright to yell this so the whole neighborhood could hear it.
Right. He's a dumb slut. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
The vote is now 5-3 in favor of guilty.
What are you basing it on? You pull stories out of thin air, and now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't get out of bed and see the boy 15 seconds after the killing? He said so to be important?
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran. Walked. What is the difference?
I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could run.
Where was the bedroom again? Mr. Foreman, I'd like to see a drawing of the apartment again.
He's an old man. Half the time he was confused.
All right. This is the apartment where the killing took place. The old man's apartment is right under it and exactly the same. Here's the front door to the apartment and here are the stairs. Now the old man was in his bed in this room. He said he got up and went down the hall to the front door. He opened it and looked out in time to see the boy running down the stairs. His bed is at the window. It is 12 feet from his bed to his bedroom door. The hall is 43 feet long. He had to get out of bed, grab his canes, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, and open the front door, all in 15 seconds. Do you think that is possible?
He could only walk very slowly. They had to help him to the witness chair.
For an old man who uses canes, it's a long walk. I think the old man was trying to get to the front door and guess it was the boy.
Yes! You come in here with your bleeding heart about some slum kid and injustice? Well, I'm getting real sick of you. This kid is guilty. He's got to burn.
Maybe you would like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you better like to pull the switch.
You're sick.
Shut up.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want him to, not because of the facts.
I said shut up.
We don't have to behave like children.
We're to decide innocence or guilt of a man we do not know. We have nothing to gain or lose. This is one reason we are strong. We cannot mix the personal thing.
Maybe we should try another vote.
Let's call out our votes. I want to know who stands where.
All right, I vote guilty.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Guilty.
The crime has been committed in this room.
The vote is now 4-4.
I'm ready to declare a hung jury.
Me too. Let the kid take his chances with another jury.
You still don't think there's room for reasonable doubt?
No, I don't.
Maybe you don't understand the term reasonable doubt.
You come running for your life from your country, and now you're gonna come here and tell us how to run this country?
Wait a second. No one's asking you where you came from.
I was born right here.
And no one's asking you where your father came from. Maybe it wouldn't hurt for us to take a few tips from people who come running here. Maybe they've learned something we don't know.
Let's stop arguing. Who's got something constructive to say?
Well, something's been bothering me a little. This whole business about the stab wound and how it was made, the downward angle of it, you know?
They went over that in court.
But I don't go along with it. The boy is 5 feet 8 inches tall, and his father was 6'2". That's a difference of 6 inches. It's very hard to stab down in the chest of someone who's taller than you are. Wait a minute. Switchblades came with the neighborhood I lived in. Anyone who's ever used a knife before would never stab downward. They would have used underhand.
Right, then that kind of wound would have killed his father.
No, not if he's ever had any experience with switchblades.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
I'm sick of this whole thing. Let's break it up and go home. I'm changing my vote to not guilty.
You what?
I've had enough.
That's no answer.
What kind of a person are you? You vote guilty because there are some theater tickets burning a hole in your pocket and now you change your vote for the same reason? I don't think you have a right to play with a man's life like this. This is an ugly thing to do.
You can't talk like that.
If you want to vote not guilty, then do it because you are convinced the man is not guilty.
Let's
If you think he's guilty, then vote that way. Is it guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Why?
I don't think he's guilty.
I want another vote.
I guess the quickest way with a show of hands. Anybody object? All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. 6. All those voting guilty? The vote is now 6-2 in favor of not guilty.
I still believe the boy's guilty of murder. To me, the most important evidence was given to the woman across the street. She says she saw the murder committed.
Let's go over our statement.
So she went to bed around 11 that night. Her bed was next to the open window. She could see right into the window across the tracks. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to sleep. Finally, she turned toward the window at 12:10. As she looked out, she saw the boy stab his father.
That's the whole case.
Pardon me. Can you see the clock behind your glasses?
Not clearly why.
Look, This may be dumb, but what do you do to wake up at night and want to know what time it is?
I put on my glasses and look at the clock.
You don't wake up to bed?
No one wears glasses to bed.
The woman who said she saw the murders wears glasses. She wouldn't wear her glasses to bed, would she? She wouldn't wear them to bed, would she?
Did she wear glasses? She did. I remember this very clearly. They looked quite strong.
That's right. She never took them off.
It's funny I never thought of it. She wasn't wearing them to bed, that's for sure. She said it while tossing and turning. She looked out the window. The murder was taking place while she looked out. The lights went out a second later. She couldn't have had time to put on her glasses. Maybe she thought she saw the boy kill his father. I say she only saw a blur.
How do you know what she said?
Does anyone think this is still not a reasonable doubt?
I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else?
No, I'm convinced.
You're alone.
I don't care. I have a right.
You have a right.
I think this kid is guilty. What else do you want?
Your argument.
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We want to hear them again. We have time.
What's the matter with you? You can't turn now. A guilty man's gonna be walking the streets. A murderer. He's gonna die. Stay with me.
I'm sorry. There's reasonable doubt in my mind.
We're waiting.
You're not gonna scare me. It's gonna be a hung jury. That's it.
You're alone. It takes a lot of courage to stand alone.